We are Shay.
No, we're the McGees. And this is
Syd McGee.
We wrote a book together. Do you want to introduce our book, Dave? We've got lots of them right here.
Yeah, so Make Life Beautiful is kind of about the journey that we've been on so far to this point. The things that Shay and I have done together, sacrificed together, and learned along the way. Funny stories, tough lessons, and just what made us us and how we got here. Did I miss something?
No, you got it all, but I'm thinking we dive in a little bit deeper.
Okay,
how about that?
You go. Deeper.
So, our book is Make Life Beautiful, and we are known for our interior design business. But this book is really about our journey. And Syd and I decided, as soon as we decided we were going to write this book, that it wouldn't come from one perspective, because there are two very different perspectives. Even though we've shared a lot of the same experiences, we write it back and forth. So the book starts out with me telling the story, and then it switches back and forth between Syd's voice and my voice. And we really wanted to make it very clear that this is not a book where we feel like we are at the end of our journey and we've made it and this is just this memoir, but it's really us in the middle of our journey and where we've come. So we started the book like even before Studio McGee, like us dating, and we dive into our relationship and when we got married, and then really the lead up to starting our business. And when you order our book from premiercollectibles.com/McGee, you get a signed copy. And so a lot of you pre-ordered the book, and when you pre-ordered the book, you got to submit a question for us. And so we have lots of questions that we're going to answer today. So we've got books. We're going to be signing them today. We've got our Sharpies here.
Give me sign.
We'll maybe I'll do a quick. I was really bad at my signature, and I still don't really love it, but it's gotten better. It's gotten better. We've signed a lot of books.
I think Shay said mine looked like a gang sign, and I just thought mine looked cool. And
yours does look very cool.
It looks good after.
It's really beautiful.
4,000 times of doing it.
Yeah,
so.
it looks great.
Okay, well, let's read some of these questions. It says, what is your best advice to keep your entire home cohesive without starting over completely?
Oh, that's a good question. So my best advice to keep your entire home cohesive without starting over completely is to pick the pieces that you love. Sometimes when we're feeling the need to start over, we want to create a different look in our home, we have this urge to just like get rid of everything, but my guess is that there are a few good pieces in there. So pick your favorites and then start with a few staples. Like maybe you don't love your sofa, it's old and worn out, you start there. Or maybe you like your sofa, but really the room needs a new rug. I would start by mood boarding, putting together some pictures so you can see some consistent themes throughout your images, because that really helps tell like what you gravitate towards.
That's what I was going to say.
That's what Syd was going to say.
Perfect. Next would be, what is your favorite quality about each other, and what is your favorite pastime?
Ooh. Okay. You want to answer that one first?
Like, what's my favorite quality?
Yeah, if you could start with that one. What's your favorite quality about me, Syd?
I think my favorite quality about you is your thoughtfulness and hard work. So I think that you're always very thoughtful in everything that you choose to do. I think that your love for design and for people is shown in that thoughtfulness, like the thoughtfulness you put into your design. And you're always very thoughtful and a really good gift giver of like knowing what someone wants, and it really makes an impact. So I think I would say that, and then your hard work to see it through and always get it done.
Okay, thanks. Wow. Yeah, I love these questions.
Okay, so I stalled long enough. You can see it about me.
No, my favorite quality about Syd is that he's really fun. I'm so fun, but he makes me feel more fun or find the enjoyment in life, which, yeah, that's definitely my favorite quality about you, is that you make life fun. I might make it beautiful, but you make life fun.
Yeah, so my next book will be Make Life Fun. We'll let you know when it's coming out.
Yep.
What's your favorite pastime?
Well, when it was more feasible, I'd love to travel. I love to travel. I also really enjoy yoga. That's a really good opportunity for me to like step away from all of the things that we have going on and just chill out.
Yeah.
I know what you're gonna say. What's your favorite pastime?
You do. I mean, you know already, but it's exploring something new. It typically happens on a bicycle. But I like doing that and traveling with family, just exploring new places, new towns, new countries, and
yours is a bike. Like,
yeah,
you literally, yes. if you don't get on a bike, you're grumpy. So we say, get on the bike.
Get on the bike.
Get on a bike.
Yeah.
What else?
Okay. It says, I'll give you all the design ones. I'll take a break.
Oh.
What places do you love to have a bit of fun with pattern in a home, and why? And then I'll do one for us both.
What places do I love to incorporate pattern in a home? Well, I like pattern in a lot of textiles. So in every living room space that we do, if there is an opportunity to mix patterns with the rug, the pillows, even the drapes, a throw, I really like to pattern mix through textiles. I love to incorporate wallpaper in powder bathrooms and in kids' spaces. And I think you can really go bold there. If you don't have kids, I think that a powder bathroom is the perfect place to incorporate a bold pattern.
I thought it was really cool when you did pattern on, like you did wallpaper on the ceiling, like Hutchinson's.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, pattern doesn't just have to be for your walls and pillows. Like I love to wallpaper a ceiling as well.
Just an advisory. I am not a designer, nor any advice I give should be taken as
so thanks for that tip.
Please consult with a professional before doing anything Syd says. I'm a fan. All right. Best advice when struggling with wanting to start something you're passionate about and leaving the steady 9 to 5. You want me to take a shot? And then you shoot.
Sure.
Higher, better, more accurate. I think it's always tricky. I think it's always scary at that edge of jumping in and going for it. I think something that I've seen and probably learned is to you gotta try to start as like a side hustle. So finding that hour or two at night, like after the kids go down, or something happens to where you start to work on this passion project that you would like to do more full time, and have to see if you can get it up and going. And that allows you to continue to do more of the same things day to day. That allows you to kind of explore and see if that's something you really want to do and can make it work.
I agree. I definitely think that any spare time you have, if you have a passion that you think that you want to pursue full time, do it as a side hustle to see if it starts to grow and if you even like it. It's just before going all in, I think that it's smart to test the waters a bit.
Cool.
What made you decide to do this business? I love design, but I don't have the formal training in this topic. How did you get into design? I think our book outlines that really, really thoroughly. We dive into the beginning of my interest, like what sparked the interest in design, and the book dives into that a lot more. It wasn't just an aha moment, I'm going to be a designer now. It was a build, and it started with an interest that became a passion, that became a hobby, that became a profession eventually. But I would definitely say that that was the process for me, and the book, that is a huge part of the book, is that decision to change careers.
Cool. I'm gonna go to this one.
Let's see.
Just looking for a good one.
Oh, we just skipped some, so I just want to. Oh, this is a good one. I'm an interior design student, and I love your work. What is one thing you think every design student should know? I feel like the most important skill a design student can learn, well, there's a couple of them, but I think that one is knowing AutoCAD. That is something that I struggled with, which was a huge barrier for me getting into design, and so I think that AutoCAD goes hand in hand with understanding space planning, and so if there were two areas to focus on, I think style can be developed over time as you experiment with things and you learn and grow, but those two foundational skills are really important.
So you don't know AutoCAD, but you want everyone else to learn.
I don't know AutoCAD very well, but I want everyone else to learn it because that's been one of the biggest hurdles. And
yeah, and I can tell you, laying in bed at night like that, you probably said to me at least 100 times, I wish I knew AutoCAD right now. I wish I knew AutoCAD. Because I wish this out, and you've made it work without
I'm
it.
like, I can do it, and I'm like the slowest ever at it. And so then our team is really quick, and I think that proficiency is really good. And we definitely talk about that in our book as well. Well, I do. I focus a lot because that was a huge mental barrier for me, is like not having one of those technical skills and feeling like I had to learn. Are you sneaking a drink? It was a huge barrier to the world of design, and so I had to, hand sketch everything to scale using a little ruler, and that works too. But I think that was a big barrier for me. So I'd say definitely learn that.
You know, let me read one because we're kind of taking over.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Would you want to just take one?
Yeah.
What was the hardest part of leaving California and starting a new life in Utah?
Oh, you can answer that one.
As a California kid, I grew up like at the beach, so surfing, skating to the beach, like reading or just hanging out at the beach like constantly. And so I think leaving a place that doesn't really get too cold or have real seasons was a big change for us. But we were excited about that, and I think we talked about that a lot, of what the excitement and the draw was to start and chase something new and come to Utah.
I think the beach was the hardest thing for you, but the hardest thing for me was, like, what if Utah felt like a terrible decision? Like when we decided to make this leap and go somewhere closer to family that was less expensive for building our business, it felt like it would work, but what if we got here and we had just made this huge decision of selling so much, and then we were here and it wasn't working? It would have felt like I feel like that would have been a huge setback, and I don't think that we wanted to have a backup plan. We didn't really have a backup plan. So, and we definitely talk about that in the book, how we went all in and we didn't really have a plan B at the time. And I think that that's actually been a big part of our success up to this point, is just feeling like the only option was to just like keep pushing.
What would your number one tip be for styling a first home? Someone's first home. I know mine is because I did that 100 times. Paint is like such a big way to change things that doesn't cost a ton.
Yeah, definitely paint, do it yourself, and then buy really the best sofa that you can in your budget. That will really set the tone for the space that you hang out in the most. I just got married and would love to know your best piece of advice for a happy marriage. Well, we're about to hit our 12-year anniversary on Sunday, the 25th.
25th.
Woo!
I knew it, guys. I knew what day it was.
So, what would you say? Best piece of advice for a happy marriage?
I mean, I think that early on, like, what was part of why I felt like we would be such a good couple is like we didn't really argue much, and just kind of felt like we had such a good like friendship relationship, like we were friends and buddies. And I think that you have to remember that as life gets crazy and you have kids and you run a business together, you still have to be like, it's your best friend. You gotta make time for your best friend to do like friend activities and have fun. And I think that really made it something that was like icing the
Are you
cake.
saying I'm in the friend zone now?
You're in the friend zone. It was like it's not like an upper echelon.
Come on!
But I think that and flexibility, right?
Yeah.
Flexibility to be like, okay, sometimes I gotta do more with the kids. Sometimes I gotta do more for whatever. I'll do whatever to just show you how much like I care and love you. So I think that makes it work.
Yeah. I feel like my advice would be to make time for yourselves as a couple. We talk about this in our book towards the later half where we got to a spot where we were just like all in, focusing on the business, and we were not making time for each other. And we realized, like, we went out to a restaurant in New York, and I had like put on lipstick, and like I had like a little like clip in my hair, and I had got myself all dressed up for this dinner, and so it was like, are we on a date? And I'm like, yeah, I think so, but you wouldn't recognize it because we haven't been on one in so long. And I think at that point we recommitted to dating each other, that making time for that, because it's so easy to just get into a routine of just like checking things off the list, but making time for each other to date each other, even though we're already married, I think is one of my best. Oh yeah.
Kisses, lots of kisses.
Yeah.
There, guys.
How do you combine two different styles to find a middle ground? I think Syd on the show said that he doesn't care and he just lets me do whatever I want because it's good for a marriage. But that's not entirely true.
Again, a little bit.
I think a give and take, and honestly, I find that in design, when you have two different styles, the most interesting results come when you blend two styles or a few different styles together. And so just embrace the fact that you have different styles, but then be willing to like give and take so that you can find a happy result.
Yeah.
What else? Do you have a junk drawer? I love that question. I'd say we have a couple of them.
We do.
Mm-hmm.
We do, but
Yeah.
it's a pretty well organized junk drawer. Because
I got these like little clear containers and I've been trying to keep everything organized, but
yes,
it's still definitely a junk drawer.
it's great. It looks good, but we have one. It exists.
Oh, what are your backgrounds? Syd, were you a business major? Oh, those are good questions, but I'm not going to tell you the answer to that because we talk all about that in the book. And the answer is our backgrounds are not design. Syd's experience is business, but that was not his major. And I'm so excited for you to read the book because you'll find out all about the lead up to.
Teaser.
Yeah. Let's see. What has been the biggest regret you have while developing your business, and what is the best advice you would give to emerging designers? Do you have the biggest regret you have while developing your business?
I mean, it's a constant thing that shows up in our book as we talk about the journey of our initial stages, and I think it was just, I would regret not making more time to just for dating each other throughout that process because we focused so solely on building the business that that kind of was something that I regret. But other than that, I mean, I feel like, as we mentioned, a lot of things good happen, and we end up being really grateful that they happen that way. And so I try not to be too.
I feel like any time that we didn't listen to our instincts, and to this day, anytime that we don't listen to our instincts, we usually find out why we had that gut feeling, and that has been a skill that we've had to acquire over the years, is listening. Why do we have a sick feeling about this? And like every time we've had like kind of a sick feeling about something, and then we just move forward, whether it seemed like an opportunity at the time, we've found out why.
I think if you go with your gut, you feel that you can live with that decision, even if it doesn't work out fully or something. Like you just like, I made the decision that I feel good with.
How do you keep up with social media? You guys, social media is a beast, and when we first started, I did everything, and this is something that we talk about that in the book as well. Like Syd really encouraged me to interact with the following that we had, and oh my gosh, did I just get Sharpie on your shirt?
That's okay.
I'm sorry.
It's the key to a happy marriage. Don't hold on.
So as we grew, it's become too much for me to handle on my own. And so we have an awesome team that helps respond to all the messages and as many as possible. And that's having a really great team is how we keep up with it. Do we want another kid? Yes. Not an announcement, but yes. What would you say? What would you do if you didn't do design? What would you do if you didn't do design?
What would I do?
I mean, you don't do design now, but
Run like a donut shop.
run a donut shop. That's a good answer.
Maybe the best donuts.
I feel like I would have. I've always been interested in flowers, and so I feel like I probably would have been more stay home with a side hustle, and I would have liked to do flowers. I think something creative and beautiful. Yeah. But,
I know that.
Really?
That's great.
I think you could have guessed that.
Well, you probably could have guessed the donut shop.
I could have guessed the donut shop. Let's see. I feel like how do you guys manage working together as husband and wife? I think that we kind of answered this earlier, but and we definitely talk about this in the book, and it's not an answer that we like came up with and then like
It was messy.
Yeah,
Not clear.
yeah, very messy before we got to it. And even now, I mean, that doesn't mean it's perfect. We all have moments where it's like, you know, wow, we're really not making time. Just like, hey, get off your phone, look at me. Or, you know, whatever.
I don't know. I'm doing anything wrong right now.
No, just, you know, making time for each other, I think is huge. And making time for each other where there's like intention and focus on each other, not just like you're in the same space. Because Syd and I are in the same space all the time, but we'll go like a whole day, I feel like, out of the office and never talk to each other. And so really making that time intentionally. I think I'm out of questions.
You want to ask about a date night?
With building a custom home. Oh, okay. So lots of design questions, lots of questions about our business, and lots of questions about being married and juggling family and our relationship. And I think that's what the book's all about, is all of those things. And I think that one cool thing that you may not know is that each chapter title is a design principle that can be applied to life. So we start out with create a focal point, or mixing styles, live with what you love, and all of those things, all of those principles that I've learned in design. Syd and I realized that as we were brainstorming ways to organize the book, that there is a huge connection between design and life. And Syd had to throw a few surf analogies in there, but that's a huge, I think that behind all the beautiful pictures, there's like two very real people that are still just trying to figure it out. And I think that I think we both hope that you walk away from it feeling like either, I can do this if there's something that you have a passion about that you want to pursue, or you're already pursuing that passion and you're in that middle what just feels totally overwhelming, that maybe there's an opportunity for you to look to see the good that can come from that messiness. And I think that positivity, even in challenging situations, is what our book's all about.
Yeah, I agree, and I think that what we'd like people to take away is that to feel encouraged that they can do something on their own, feel encouraged as they face challenges, and use those obstacles as kind of a way to guide you as things pop up and how to overcome them and what you need to do. Is some of the biggest moments that we grew together as a couple and as a business, and I think that I just want people to know that there's different levels of success for everybody, and you can really find happiness at a lot of different levels of doing something that you love and enjoy.
And that doesn't look the same for everybody. Like success doesn't look the same for everybody. And I think when we reached the end, Syd and I were like, how do we wrap this up? Because we feel like we're not done yet. I think that's the cool thing about running a business, is that there's always an opportunity to pivot or reinvent yourself, or think of new things that you want to go after. And we have poured our little hearts out into this book. We wrote.
How was it writing it during quarantine? Do you think it was easier, harder?
I think that so we started the process at the end of last year, and then the deadlines really started hitting around the beginning of lockdown, and we locked down and focused on the book. And I think that actually that ended up being a really good thing, because we were just home and we could focus entirely on the book. And there were a lot of it was challenging, but it was also really fun. I think you were saying to me this morning while you were brushing your teeth that one thing is Syd and I always are looking forward in our business and our lives. What's next? What are we gonna do next? How are we gonna solve this problem? But the book was interesting because it forced us to stop and look back for a second, which was cool because you could see one, how far we've come. Two, it gives you confidence to overcome challenges, because we were able to kind of recount some of those and remember when we thought we weren't gonna make it? We did. And
looking back, you're like, oh, there was some dark days. I don't even want to look back. But there is hope and brighter days above, forward in front of you. And so that's what's cool. It's just seeing oh my gosh, we went through all that and we made it. We made it on the other side. Did you have a favorite part of the book that you liked writing or recounting?
I think that some of my favorite parts are the chapter titles, or the line that comes right after the chapter title. And one of them is confidence in your craft is built by one experience at a time. And I think that that's true, and that you don't just wake up one day and decide to do something, or decide that all of a sudden I am this. It's just one experience at a time that layers upon layer, just till you get a little bit more confident, you can build those experiences. You can't have confidence in what you're doing unless you've had a few setbacks that you've overcome to learn from. And I think that those are my favorite parts of the book, probably.
Yeah.
How about you?
I think as we wrote it and looked at it overall, it seems like we had such ambition to be great, to do big things, to really make this work as much as possible together. And then I think we've had to forcefully learn patience constantly, of as things come, patience, you gotta wait longer to really achieve and realize some of those things. And that was that's hard, because when you're
not
you just want to hurry up and get there.
Yeah.
And so I think that you've seen that as we've been delayed on the product side and being able to launch our own product side and sell a product, and as we've been delayed on being able to do a show or write a book or share things. It's like all those times we're like delay, but we've learned if you keep your head down and we keep going, that it'll pay off. And that's what I learned. That overarching feeling and takeaway of the book.
Yeah. So, well, thank you so much for joining us. Don't forget that you can get your signed copies at premiercollectibles.com/McGee, and the book is Make Life Beautiful. And it officially launches October 27th. Woo!
That's soon. Soon, guys.